I've been banning Leona a lot in solo queue only because picked constantly works well with pretty much every AD carry and is absolutely beastly if he gets ahead. So I have been banning Leona. I don't think Annie's worth the ban, personally. But if you're going to ban both, I don't know, it just seems odd that you would ban something that you're then picking to counter.
So Edward actually published a tier list of supports, and Thresh and Leona are at the top, no surprises. But he actually had some blanks, and none of the blanks were not traditional support picks. And he's saying that there are some mages that he suspects will become top tier supports, and he's not going to say who they are because he's waiting to bust them out for some tournament. So I'm really interested to see what mages kind of emerge as support alternatives.
I would expect Lux. I played a little bit of weird support kill lane Lux before, and I don't know. I think with the new changes, she's going to be pretty potent because her early game, if she's able to proc her passives, are pretty damn powerful, and her mid and late game is so very dominant. I don't know how well, only because supports they do build a lot of sort of utility items, and as much as I like Lux and her damage is pretty strong, her base damages aren't anything that great. She kind of does have to have some AP. But as we all know, Karma is absolutely phenomenal at supporting right now. Brand is actually not that bad, only because 2-second stun and percentage health shred is kind of ridiculous. And Lux is the other one that pops to mind as a mage that does very, very well. Morgana, of course, as well.
We're seeing Lissandra and LeBlanc being offered up in comments, and I think those are Lissandra is a very niche pick. She counters Leona, she counters Bruisers, but against a poke comp, she's essentially useless. So I'm not sure if she would be even top tier, even if she was played as a support. LeBlanc is an interesting pick. I'm also seeing Cassiopeia being bandied around as a potential support due to her AoE ult, but I'm not 100% sure if that could work.
The issue with Cassiopeia support, also guys, I adjusted volume. Hopefully we're a little bit more equal in terms of our voice levels at this point. But in terms of Cassiopeia support, it's so very reliant on landing a combo and never being engaged on. If you break her combo by either dodging it or engaging onto her, she's useless. She has no point. And that's why I'm a little bit cautious to suggest it. I actually encountered last season a Karthus support, and I was like, oh, this is so stupid, it's useless. And then he happened to land a chain combo onto me. I was like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty effective. Because you can never really dive them.
There's a lot of controversy over the fact that you can take a mage as a support, a bruiser as a support, and honestly, I'm a fan of it. If only because I haven't seen someone go, "I'm not supporting. Fuck you, I'm not supporting. I will rage quit or feed or troll if you make me support."
Yeah.
In months, like people are actually interested in the role. And if you're a support main, a long-term support main, I understand how it feels, but I'm also excited to see the role getting shaken up and some people interested in it.
Agreed. And someone was mentioning in chat Zillion. Zillion is already considered a top tier support. I believe the inspiration for that originally, there's two. Zekent, who I believe is signed to Curse right now. I really like Zekent. He's a really cool player, and he plays a lot of uncommon picks. And he plays them phenomenally well. He played AP Janna all last season, and he had something like an 80% win rate in Challenger tier with it over the course of like 100 games. It was absolutely crazy, his Janna play. And his other thing that he was doing for about a week and a half, is he played support Zillion. And it was so impressive, and people were so upset by how well it was working versus the common picks at the time. Zillion was a top tier ban in Challenger for like a week and a half, and then he kind of moved on to his next flavor of the month. And then after that, we saw Alex Ish playing mid Zillion in a couple tournaments. He did okay, and M5 is always famous for saying, like, we just play broken heroes. And so in their mind, Zillion was broken. They were trying to make him work mid. It worked okay, but it wasn't anything that crazy. And then now we're seeing it loop all the way back around, where both the Korean teams as well as a number of North American teams have brought out the Zillion support. I haven't seen that many games where it's been used in, so I can't really qualify a response of how well it's worked. But the one or two games I saw, it worked okay. It's pretty potent if it's played properly. But it's a very difficult thing to pull off, and it's very niche. But when it works really well.
Right, Zkent was also the dude with Spam Happy, the account that reached, I believe, Diamond with only Poppy. And this was before the goal changes, when Poppy is considered an absolute garbage pick. So, he's a very smart guy who knows how to look at champions and see uses for them that other people miss.
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with Poppy after watching him, and I was playing Poppy for a little while, and it's a lot of fun. And his guide on Poppy is the standard. It's what you use if you want to learn Poppy because he's just so phenomenal with her. He's used her in every role. Like, he was playing support Poppy in Diamond tier and had, again, like a crazy, crazy win rate with it.
Unfortunately, Poppy is not long for this world. Morello has publicly vowed that if she ever plays, he will gut her, Evelyn style.
They have
Because
to. Her kit
she's so
is...
strong.
There's too much in her. It's just that she's counterpicked by everything. But if you make her work, if you find a team comp that she's playable in, and you don't lose lane, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like taking all the toxic parts of Kale, mixing them with all the toxic parts of Vayne, and then saying, yeah, okay, if you make it past 15, 20 minutes and aren't completely shut down, this is the power level of your champion and the amount of free stuff you get in your kit.
Right, her power curve is garbage, 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 garbage. Oh god, why is she pentakilling our entire team alone?
Yeah. Alright, so
So,
we're almost loaded into game now.
have we looked at team comps at all yet?
I got distracted by supports. Supports are awesome. In terms of matchups, Kale wins versus Renekton generally only because she has to kite properly. If she gets caught out, though, Renekton can provide some very, very potent damage. Both junglers are going to be able to pair well with their top laners because Renekton can lead with a stun and Shyvana can deal some DPS. Obviously not as potent as a Lee and Kale, but they're slow between those two. The Lee Sin and Kale is pretty damn impressive. And they should be able to chase kills in if Renekton pushes. Vice versa, if Kale pushes, Renekton can lead with a stun and Shyvana can walk in and do a crazy amount of damage. Oh wait. I'm done. Dumb. It's bot lane AP Kale.
I am excited to see Anivia versus Victor. They're both not super popular solo queue picks. They both have a lot of power in completely different areas. Victor is sort of a burst you from afar, while Anivia is landing her combo and zone control kind of mage. So they both have strong spots that line up. They both have weaknesses against each other, and I'm really excited to see this matchup, especially with these two gorgeous skins.
I've insulted his Victor before because he's gone 2 mana potions and started E. Generally on Victor, you start Q because that's when you trade. You trade at level 1 using auto attack Q, auto attack, and the shielding protects you from the return damage from minions and some of the burst damage if they try and trade against you. Now that being said, every time I've said that, he then proceeds to play a very solid Victor and do well. So I understand, definitely play what you want, but having no health potions, having no shielding is going to put you in a very dangerous place if Anivia lands something early, if Anivia plays well. That being said, he's done a lot of level 1 poke onto this Anivia, and looks like he's just sticking around to try and land even more poke before she ever gets to lane. So good solid play coming out from him, just in how he's positioning, how he's playing the pre-lane. But again, I don't know.
I mean, E does have a lot of range on it when you land it correctly, and when you're poking against a team with, I mean, if Lulu, Draven, Shyvana get their hands on you, you're done in. So I understand the logic there, but I am not a Victor main as you are, so.
Well, the issue, yes, it's a very, very long-range skill. I actually did the calculation on it once, and I believe it works out to be 50 range shorter than a max-range Nidalee Spear. That goes through champions, hits multiple targets, like it can't be blocked. So it's absolutely phenomenal. It also doesn't interrupt your movement speed. So if you're being chased, you can cast it without interrupting your movement speed or slowing you in any way. So it's great from the standpoint if you don't want to get hit by the Anivia. But I don't know. It just... I'm obsessed with Q-Star, and like, see, he is taking a lot of damage in return. He's not gonna. It's not as though he's going to be able to kill the Anivia because it's just going to go into egg mode. While I was busy rambling, as we saw, they did get in top lane, combined their slows and power, and were able to get a kill. And I'm dumb. It was bot lane. It was Kale. I'm so not used to seeing AP Kale bot lane.
It's also Nami did work there. Nami absolutely landed a bubble that was the difference between life or death. So good play from both champions, really synergizing. Lee Sin comes, a beautiful wall from Anivia, and she manages to survive. Even though I believe her egg was up, that's still gonna do a lot of good for her in lane. Meanwhile, Volibear is running from a Renekton Shyvana combo.
Yeah, now the initial kill that Anivia picked up, I apologize guys, I got very turned around. I'm still adjusting to this Kale bot thing. I know he's done it before, he's done fine with it. It's just, I'm not used to it. Anivia was able to land that kill because Victor tried to go aggressive, dropped his stun field, it didn't hit Anivia, and Anivia just essentially backed away, landed her combo, and then flash forward ignited and autoed Victor. Because again, Victor doesn't have his shield, he doesn't have health potions, so any harass that goes onto him, it's going to stick.
I find that people often underestimate Anivia because her damage is so tied to landing her combo correctly. She's like a very slow Cassiopeia. But that doesn't mean, as soon as you start handing her opportunities to land her combo, you've made a big mistake.
I want to compliment this. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just finished watching the play. I want to compliment the Nami. She is using the E to land the slow, and then once she knows where Draven is going, then she uses her bubble. That's how you play Nami, is that you land the slow so that your bubble's easier to land, and you wait until you know if they're going to try and go aggressive or if they're going to try and run away. And that limits the options of where they're going to run to, and allows you to land your stun very reliably. And able to combo that in with the Kale burst and the auto attack damage from Nami, and is able to pick up a kill as a result. They're zoning very, very effectively, not letting Draven get back into the lane. The farm is currently 4 farm on Draven versus 21 on Kale.
I want to take a quick moment to address just general mindset when you're behind. I see a lot of people take either two approaches when they fall behind. They either turtle and they panic and they close up and they're sitting there thinking, fuck, I fucked up, I'm so fucked. Or they go balls to the wall, they go, I have to re-earn my glory, and so on. And either approach is really toxic. So I think ultimately what it comes down to is when you're behind, you have to communicate with your team, and you have to look at your champion's strengths and see how you can get out of that pickle.
Agreed. The biggest one for me is looking at level breakpoints, essentially, where it's saying, yeah, I fucked up my lane, I'm going to lose now, I'm going to do whatever. But then you think, okay, how is my level 3 engage? How's my level 4, 6, 8, 9 sort of key levels for most champions? How potent are those versus my opponent? And how likely am I to be able to sort of keep up in experience? And in the case of bot lane, unfortunately, Kale and Nami have a better level 6 than a Draven Lulu in terms of kill potential. And so, obviously, that's not going to be the ideal course of action. But on the flip side, a Victor, his level 6 is incredibly strong. If Anivia gets ahead and Victor's having some issues surviving in lane, I'd be thinking to myself, okay, if I can make it to level 6, what's the outcome? If I land a combo at level 6, hey look, I'm going to kill Anivia. I might even be able to get through the egg. So I just think keeping an eye on experience, keeping an eye on level and item breakpoints is very important when you're figuring out what your next course of action should be in terms of how you're going to play the lane. Pichu, you're asking if we're doing another game after. I would have assumed someone in chat would have answered that, but yes, we will be doing more games.
So
it might be
purple,
viewer games.
For instance, blue team is pushing on bot lane due to Kale's splash damage on her ranged auto. So purple came around for a gank. That didn't end up with a kill, but just showing their face is a message to Kale. You keep shoving, and we're going to be there to answer that. And that alone can be huge. Lee Sin coming around on Anivia. We'll see if that comes to a kill.
Okay, and Victor is level 6. So he lands the ult. Good job. Kill goes over to him rather than Lee Sin, which is a great pickup for him. He needs to get he has his death augment now. He needs to get his boots too, so that he can avoid the Anivia skill shots, and he can try and set up some roam. Anivia's roam is terrible. Victor's is, I would argue, mediocre. Oh, he takes the tower shot, so not able to survive. Sorry, he is barely able to survive, but not able to return the kill onto the Shyvana. If he had been a little bit more ballsy and not taken the turret shot, I think he could have done it with just auto-attacking, resetting it with the Q. I think he could have done a little better.
Top is bully versus bully, and if Renekton can survive Volibear's passive, Volibear just standing there wailing on him and sustaining, and Renekton's damage really outpaces Volibear's. So they were even since Volibear was up a kill, but now Renekton is pulling up ahead, and Volibear has to, play accordingly.
They do have to be very careful of the Volibear passive, though. Renekton does a lot of damage, but it's more sustained with small bursts. It's not going to be able to finish him off from that 30% health, and he's going to heal up and be able to return a lot of damage. That being said, though, Renekton is up a lot of health at this point, so when it comes to bullying, he's going to be able to really press in onto that Volibear and provide a lot of pressure. Volibear's sitting in base, though. I'm not sure if he's disconnected AFK or if he's waiting on an item.
Nami and Kaylee are showing some excellent synergy on bottom lane. I'm not sure how closely they're communicating in terms of text, or if they're just both familiar with the character's playstyle. We'll see if Kaylee drops ult so she can survive the tower hit and picks up the kill on Draven. Nami splashes and survives what seems to be certain death, so excellent play from bot lane.
Mid lane is collapsing in. I don't know if they're going to try for a dragon here. If they can keep high enough health, Anivia does have a lot of AoE, but it's not easy mode burst. No one has a sweeper trinket though, so it's not safe for them to do so. If they had swept, I would have suggested, yeah, go for it. Lee Sin can tank it, no problem, and the rest of you are going to provide enough DPS that it's going to go down incredibly quickly and safely. Also, Tic Tac, no, chat is not lagging. No one is in it right now, it seems.
Anivia and Victor are 7 farm apart. They each have a kill, and I believe they're kind of they're poking each other, but neither seems really content to just go in balls on the wall on the other one yet. Victor, I believe, is waiting on his ult. It is up, but he needs to keep it on Anivia for the full duration if he's going to pick up a kill on her.
He's using his E every cooldown at this point, and he needs to be able to get it across at least some of the minions and hit Anivia with the same laser. So there it goes, gets Anivia incredibly low. Anivia's going to have to back out at this point. She has no potions left. Victor, just keep an eye on it, seeing if he can drop the ult for a free kill. Shyvana, though, is here to hold the lane.
Shyvana's coming around on Victor. She is a poor ganker, but with that level of excellent stun cage from Victor stops Shyvana in her tracks.
Yeah, now that the actual egg is down from Anivia, this is Victor's chance, obviously not right at the moment while Shyvana is here, but this is his chance to start playing far more aggressively and be able to 100-0. The problem before was that with egg up, there's no way for him to land the full kill. Shyvana is looping around bot lane, but Draven is already dead. Again, just so much burst, so much CC and utility coming out. And yeah, there Shyvana just goes back mid. She did drop a ward on the red buff though, so they're going to be able to see when that spawns.
Well, last game we discussed Nami actually specifically being played by Coffee Dave, who I believe is Vexel Graves in Twitch chat, and we were saying, what is his end game every time he drops a ult or drops a bubble? And this Nami, I believe, is just, showing the other side of that, where every ult has a goal in mind. Every ult has an end. And so Kayle is just picking up on that, and their synergy is just really incredible to watch.
Work sheep. I'd rather work sheep.
You can't trust sheep. They're too stupid, and they're terrified. They're like little horses. They will kill you.
I want to try and get a little bit more attention back to top lane. Unfortunately, though, we haven't been able to focus on it too much because Volibear is... Oh, he's still AFK. Okay, so that's really, really unfortunate. If you can't stay for one of these workshop games, you should not be signing up. I actually hadn't realized that he was AFK. He hasn't disconnected that I've seen, so I don't know what he's doing. There was no pause that came out, so I'm assuming he just left.
Unfortunately, real life does pop up sometimes. It's just deeply unfortunate when you have four other people. According to chat, it
Uh,
has been paused, and it looks like he has disconnected now.
okay, unfortunately, though, even if he comes back, it is level 6 versus level 9. He's been disconnected for a very long time.
I just want to take a moment to address something. Anivia is just she's sheepishly insulting herself in chat. She's saying I'm playing like a bronze 5, I'm playing so badly. That's fine. We all have bad games, but there comes to a point where when you're just shitting on yourself, when you're saying I'm terrible, I'm a bronze, I'm a scrub, I'm bringing my team down, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You really have to stop sometimes and be like, okay, I'm down 10 CS, but what can I do for my team? I'm Anivia. Will I be able to will I be able to land a game-winning wall? Will I be able to burst down their carry? If you just stand there and go, I'm terrible, that's not productive. That's not helpful. And it's a product of anxiety I'm definitely sympathetic towards, but it's really toxic, and I really strongly encourage people to try to look at a brighter side of their play, even when they're behind.
Agreed. And also, you need to be constantly looking at what can I fix in my gameplay. Every game is an opportunity to improve. It doesn't matter how well you did, it doesn't matter how poorly you did, but you need to be constantly examining your gameplay. I've mentioned a number of times in these workshops, when you begin a game, take a look at the team comps, take a look at your champion selection, that sort of thing, and say, okay, what's 2 or 3 things I need to focus on this game? Whether I need to learn to roam, I need to learn to CS, I need to learn to team fight, I need to learn to time objectives. Whatever you're doing poorly at, the next game you play, write it down. Take a look at it every time you go back to base, just to recenter yourself and focus. In this Anivia's case, it might just be, I need to maintain a positive attitude. It could be something as simple as that, where every time you die, every time you go back to base, every time you do something, look back at that list and say, okay, am I accomplishing these goals? Am I improving? And if I'm not, what can I do to focus my improvement and learn to play better the next game, even if this game is lost?
We all have bad games. Sometimes you're tired, you're drowsy, someone's talking to you during laning phase and you miss CS, whatever. Sometimes you just have a bad game and there's no real reason, it just happens. And if you sit there and go, I'm terrible, I suck, like Pro says, having goals in mind is super productive, and just it's super helpful if you can look objectively at your play, even when you're upset, even when you're anxious, and have a pretty strong view of what needs to improve on. To just sit there and shit on yourself, that's not helping anything.
Yeah, well, like, you guys have seen me play AD carry. It's not pretty. We all have bad games. Like, I played in bronze. I did terribly, and I was just like, well, yeah, I'm having a bad game. I'm not playing well, and the team is not communicating. Like, I'm not able to communicate and make this work with them. And it's just like, well, why let it get to you? I went ahead and did my best the next game, and we absolutely stomped them. And it's just one of those things where don't focus on the outcome of one game. Focus on overall improvements and practicing, where it's like, this game is over. I know it's lost, but I can still practice last hitting, or I can still practice my combos, or again, something.
Right. Pichu says, I wish the LoL community was like this, and he cites an example of a bad game. I definitely sympathize with him. It sucks when you're in a game with someone who's hostile. It sucks when you're in a game with someone who is aggressively bad. It sucks when you're in a game with someone who thinks that this is Call of Duty and is running into the jungle to do some deathmatch. But ultimately, you are the common factor in all of your games. And as long as you keep trying, you keep consistently getting better, you will climb out of bronze.
Agreed. And it's also worth pointing out that Well, this is the League community. It might not be your standard solo queue community. Great kill on Anivia, a really, really good combo on her part. But it might not be your average solo queue game, but these are players who play League of Legends. If you really do not like, if you cannot handle the standard solo queue mentality and the average attitude in your games, there are solutions. You can play only community games. There's a lot of community chat rooms out there where you just join them and get into some normals or ARAMs or even ranked duos. Like I do them throughout the week sometimes, where it's just like, yeah, let's just have some fun. And in doing that, you are saying, this is the community I want to be a part of, and whether or not it's ranked or not, there are still a lot of different options for how you want to play the game. Great kiting coming out from Lee Sin. Renekton does try and continue to the dive, and in the long term, Lee is just able to kite back and forth around and around the turret, kicks him away, and Renekton does end up going down in the long run. But yeah, the community is as good as you make it.
I am an exclusive solo queue player. I play ranked solos. I'm currently in Bronze 3. I got to Bronze 1 last season. And honestly, the community was bad sometimes. People were rude. People were outright cruel. And there comes a point where you go, am I going to sit here and go, you know, this guy is terrible. This guy is ruining my game. I hate people who say mid or feed. Or are you going to rise above that? And that's easier said than done. But to just sit there and go, the community is terrible, and therefore I give up, that's not productive.
Yeah. I have a complaint about this Victor. He had like 100 health and stayed. He had no potions. He had no health. Obviously, he's trying to bait Anivia in, but your jungler is busy trying to hold top lane, or he ended up going back. But like, there's no one coming to relieve you. Just go back and buy. Even if you lose the tower, there's no use dying at that point. And I see a lot of people do that, where it's like, but I have to hold the tower, or I have to get this kill. Well, you're already ahead, or you're behind, or whatever. Why would you either throw away the advantage or risk them getting a further advantage with no real reward in sight? Shyvana getting some counter jungling done, noticing, of course, that Lee Sin is forced to hold top. So as Shyvana, I would be mercilessly taking all of the enemy jungles so that she can build a further advantage and try and find a response to shut down this bot lane late game.
Mid, like you said, Victor stuck around, and mid mercilessly took advantage of that. Anivia Flash E picked up the kill. So, sticking around, like when you're anxious, it seems like a good solution. You don't want to leave, but being dead is the ultimate form of crowd control. And when you're down for 20, 30, 40 seconds, you lose towers, you lose minions, you lose a lot of objectives. You gotta stay alive.
Agreed. Now, Victor is going to get collapsed on here. Renekton coming in from the top, Anivia in behind him. So Anivia should just lead with, yeah, perfect job there. Lead with everything that you need to get the reliable damage. Unfortunately, though, she splits Renekton off. That was just a little bit of miscommunication, and she ends up going down in the long run, just from the really nice laser coming out from Victor. What should have happened there is Anivia would lead with RE, and then use the wall behind so that Victor cannot go back to his turret. That then sets up Renekton's stun, and then you can chain that with your stun, because it's 100% guaranteed to land. They're already stunned by Renekton, and you can just follow it through.
Just want to take a moment to give props to Blue Team. They do have an AFK, and they're still trying their hardest. They're still making a solid team effort. They're not just throwing up their hands and saying, welp. So good job to Blue Team for that.
Yeah, this turret's going to go over to Purple Team here. Kayle in behind, but there's no way that she can go in and try and 1v4. So I'm not sure if... not sure exactly what she's doing. Oh, if she goes on to Lulu. No. I was going to say she might have enough burst to just burst Lulu down, because Lulu was at about half health. But the rest of the teams there, it would have been a little bit risky.
Victor is in the front. He's actually standing ahead of Lee Sin. When you have laser and Q, that might be putting yourself in unnecessary risk.
Good wall coming out from Anivia, as well as the stun directly onto Kayle, saving the Draven. Looks like Draven is going to... Oh, no. Nice laser. Yeah, that's going to go over as well, and that just leaves Renekton up, which Nami is currently slowing. Laser goes down, but no one's really able to get to the Anivia at this point.
This Nami has smoothly transitioned in the laning phase from teamfight phase. You know, she still has purpose, she's still sticking with her carry, she's still doing everything she needs to do. We see a lot of players who are excellent at one phase, but not so great at the other. This Nami is going through a solid effort all game long.
Agreed. And we see the same thing that happened with Viktor early, where Anivia is just staying. She's saying, oh, I can't lose this blue buff. I really need blue buff. I'm Anivia. But there's 3 people there. You can't 1v3 as Anivia and really hope to walk away with a free buff.
And because Anivia's down, purple is collapsing down onto blue. I don't believe they'll be able to effectively contest this dragon, though.
Yeah, and that's just going to be, again, more kills where you're saying, oh, we're behind. We can't afford to lose these objectives. And as a result, you're giving them free kills. You're giving them free objectives at that point. Yeah, Draven was saying, well, I thought I'd get the dragon. Even if you got it, yes, dragon is better than 1 kill. But what's your risk factor? Is it like a 40% chance you're going to get it, a 30% chance? You kind of have to weigh that against the potential reward.
Right, there are plays, for instance, if you drop a Caitlyn Q from the back of Dragon, that is fairly low risk. If you go charging in 1 versus 3, that's a substantially more risky maneuver.
Exactly. It's not like it's a Vi jumping over the wall, smiting it, and flashing out. Or like that's the most common one I think of. Or Gragas, or Ezreal, or Lux. One of those champions who has a high spike burst potential and can snipe from relative safety. Draven, not so much. His ult hit, but it wasn't able to do anything, so then he just ended up walking into the team. Nami prepping red buff for Kayle. Very nice of her.
I just want to, like, hug this Nami and, like, make her hot chocolate. She is doing work.
I'm pretty sure she'd drown if you put her in hot chocolate.
No, not Nami. Don't die.
Good stun coming out from Anivia. Wow, that was a really good disengage from Nami. I like this Nami. I believe she deserves goldfish crackers so that she can have a delicious snack and be a cannibal at the same time, because she is a beast.
The snack that smiles back, I don't know if she can handle that, like, psychologically.
It smiles back whether you want it to or not.
Oh god.
I'd be looking to maybe wall off the Kayle there. If you could separate Kayle from the Viktor, you might have been able to transition in with 2 or 3 people and pick her off. That being said, though, Kayle is 704. Like, it's a large risk no matter who you send versus her.
Right, bot is being pushed in by purple. We have Nami and Kayle, the dream team, going in. It's 2 versus 4 plus a tower. We'll see whether they're able to make something of it.
Draven split off. I don't know why Lee Sin didn't go directly onto him.
Lulu was taking the turret there, but Kaylee was able to mop up. We have purple team collapsing around from the tri-bush. Viktor gets a stun cage down, doesn't catch anyone in it, but he does block off that avenue of escape and manages to keep them all underneath his ult as an effect.
As Viktor, if you're forcing people to run towards you, that's a really good thing, because he has the stun field down. They got slowed by it, not stunned. But then that set up a 3-person ult from him. Anivia panic flashed because she had to get away immediately. It wasn't quite close enough to the wall and therefore didn't escape. Viktor was able to finish that off and then cycle just back out, land some ease across people. Really good job by Viktor. He landed everything across multiple people. Yes, the stun didn't land, but you don't actually need the stun to land. It's a zoning tool as much as it is a stun. And so I really like that. I had the complaint, though, that Draven was split off from the team. He was actually behind the tower while blue team was collapsing. No one killed him.
I believe Draven was going for mini golems, and, you know, I understand the logic behind it. In a way, he's saying, I'm behind on farm. I'm taking a resource away from them. And he picks up a kill on Kayle, so he gets a little bit of gold that he badly needs, since he doesn't even have a full...
He's at 48 CS. Because he got shot down so far hard in lane that he was never able to move up for a CS.
But let's look at risk versus reward. So I'm Draven. I'm taking mini golems. That's what, 150 gold, I believe, for both of them.
Somewhere around that.
And
It does scale now, so it's harder to calculate.
but right, and I'm behind enemy lines with a bunch of Fed players. You know, I'm not worth anything as Draven, but if I'm down for 30, 40, 50 seconds, as the game goes on, obviously the number changes. Uh, it's 150 gold worth it.
hmm And yeah, it was just being caught out of position. I was also disappointed though by blue team. Lee Sin was there and didn't decide to kick him. He was like, "No, I have to get to the tower to defend it." But they already have Kill there. Kill and Nami can hold that just fine, and they were able to pick up a kill just fine without them. They could have, I believe, almost instantly killed the Draven, and then comboed onto anyone else who dared try and come through that path. Kale's going to pick up an... Oh, no, Lulu's able to flash away. Kale flashes after. She's still
Lulu
able to
makes
pick it
a
up.
solid effort to stop Kale. At this point, she's so fed, though. It would take a miracle to stop her.
I think after this we're going to do a in-house where like we're each going to play on different teams. I think this is the last workshop game, but we are doing more games still.
But you're plat, and I'm a lowly bronze.
Exactly. I have to teach you.
No!
You know you want to fight my Victor.
Oh, yeah, that'll be great. So Renekton sees an opportunity to get some gold for his team, goes bot, picks up the tower. Good job on him. Kaylee was in the neighborhood, but not able to stop him, just in terms of proximity. Anivia's going top, but it looks like Lee Sin and Naomi are just pulling back. They got the tower, they got the gold, they're out. They don't see a need to push. Purple team spread out. They have Renekton and Lulu bot, and Shyvana and Anivia top. Draven's hanging out. They're about to move in and contest Dragon, it looks like.
Yeah, catch and kill out. I think they could maybe land this. No, ult comes out. Oh, Nami's there though. Nami's gonna win that for them.
Another flawless Nami. Nami is just winning MVP. Like, she's not doing the damage, and she doesn't need to. She's just enabling everyone else, and that's really fantastic Nami play.
So now they're going to take up the dragon, get a little extra bonus gold for their team. I would start to consider Baron. Kayle is actually a very strong Baron threat, as is... well, Volibear's not on. Never mind. Victor is pretty good as well. Again, he hasn't finished his Liandry, so he's not going to have percentage health shredding. Doesn't really matter, though. They have enough damage on their team between Kayle, Lee Sin, and Victor.
Fun fact, Yasuo can block Baron projectiles. So if you ever have a Yasuo on your team, good to know.
Oh yeah, and he can solo Baron in like 10 seconds if he has full build.
They're gonna nerf Yasuo, and it makes me sad, because he's fun, and I like him. But he's just, oh my god, he has so much power, and it's just, he has 2 passives, for the love of God.
Yeah, he's an interesting champion in that he's terrible unless he's good.
Certainly T and Zephyrius both really, another beautiful Nami ult coming down, catching both Shyvana and Renekton. Shyvana gets over the wall, beautiful bubble, oh my god, but Nami's still in. Kaylee's cleaning up. My god, this Nami is just doing work.
I mained Nami last season. It was my most played champion in ranked, and I'm like, oh god, this is essentially how I played, and I was playing high plat. So yeah, this is really good Nami. Again, it's difficult to say from the sample size of one game, but like the decision-making combos, just how everything is being landed, is really good. Like really, really good.
Right. League has a thing where if you're doing badly, you tilt. You start panicking, you get anxious, you get angry. But when you're doing well, you can just build good decision off good decision off good decision. And that's sort of a skill you have to cultivate. Like, we've talked about people who get fed and run 1v5 into the fountain because they're so fed. But people who manage to play conservatively when they're ahead and just get bigger and bigger gains, that's a huge skill that will take you all the way out of bronze.
Action has pretty much settled down now. Again, I would like to see some wards popping up around Baron. Good wards coming up from Purple Team, though. Like, Nami's... Not Nami. Lulu has some really good ward coverage. I'm not sure who else was involved with this, but they have a lot of wards down, and they're all in really good places. On the flip side, Nami has some really solid wards as well. So it's not like one of them is doing, oh my god, so much, so many wards, so amazing, much wow, blah blah blah. Yeah, I like it. Nami has opted for the Twin Shadows. I like Twin Shadows on Nami. It's just, I think there's probably some better picks.
Fun fact, if you type spooky ghosts into the store, Twin Shadows pops up.
That is awesome.
Purple team coming around, contesting blue. There's four of them, but the entire blue team that is online is there. Shyvana comes around, isn't able to really land anything on Lee. Victor has stun cage down, and again, he's not catching people in it, but he's preventing them from going forward, and the ult just picks up kill after kill.
This is a perfect opportunity to Baron. They need to turn around, kill Anivia, which they're going to do right now.
Beautiful KO goes down, blocks Anivia's burst. They both go down, leaving 3 blue people up at nearly full health, and they're going to choose to push without advantage.
That's understandable because Kayle is their reliable DPS. Also, Lee Sin doesn't have lifesteal yet, so he's not able to tank it very easily. He's opted to go for a Randuin's and a Hex Drinker. It's an interesting choice.
And
oh god, Wriggle's lantern looks weird.
I don't really like the new Wriggle's icon. It doesn't look like a lantern. It looks like
an acorn. An acorn split apart with a light in it.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft has amazing icon design, and League of Legends is just not. I mean, nothing is worse than Twisted Fate's clearly made in MS Paint ult icon, or Tryndamere's like Scaredy Cat icon, which is some weird gray cat thing. I don't know.
They're gonna take away blue buff, take away everything they love.
Right, blue team, amazing job. Just not like they could have gone. We're down one. We surrender. GG. But they're really just they're playing smart. They're pushing advantages, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's now recalling. Alright, Kayle's going to get caught out and die. This is an opportunity for Purple Team. I think they could... They're not going to be able to get to Baron in time. The respawn timers are pretty low.
People in the workshops are very afraid of Baron. They're afraid of people taking it, but they're afraid to take it themselves. Amazing stun case from Victor, followed up with the Nami ult.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. Victor flashes over, gets the Q on, not quite able to land the E.
Meanwhile, Shyvana's top. She's shoving. No one is contesting her. They're choosing to chase down Renekton instead, and it looks like they're going to get the kill, but Shyvana's going to take at least one turret. I think she may be able to take the inhib turret as well if no one goes to stop her.
In the meantime, though, they're going to trade that for the mid inhib. Kayle is back up now.
Okay, Shyvana doesn't have the minions. She's continuing to shove. Kaylee's going up. I think Shyvana's going to get the outer turret, but she's not going to be able to stop the inhib turret. Meanwhile, we have blue buff going for the inhib.
That's a lot of attack speed on Kayle. I judged him before for Hurricane. I don't really care. He's done well every time he's done it. I still feel there are more efficient items. It's not that it's a bad item, I just think there's more efficient ones.
clearly everyone should get 6 death caps, and that is the best item. Shyvana tries to go over the wall, doesn't quite make it, and Victor lands a stun cage. She's going down quite slowly. The rest of her team is going to back up. Amazing Nami wave. They take the kill on Shyvana and they decide to back out. They don't have Kayle. They know that they got the only kill they're going to get, and they're just backing out and looking at other objectives. So amazing decision making from blue team yet again. I'm wondering how much communication they have going on in chat, or if they're just on the same page. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have people with the same sort of playstyle as you, and it just matches up wonderfully. I'm wondering which one is which.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, they keep picking up these kills. They're not pushing anything with it. They're not taking Baron. They're not taking, like, top tower. There's at this point, there's nothing for them to push mid. So that one kill they need to turn into something. They're opting to take a dragon with it, which, it's a nice gold advantage. It'll give you a little bit further a lead. But in terms of what you could do with it, I don't know. I think they could use Kayle to take a really quick Baron, or they could take top tower.
Teams are really afraid of Baron, and I understand it. We've all had a game where everything's going wonderfully. We go for the Baron, mop up, ace, and end it. But if you look at the risk versus reward, I don't think that their team is capable of stopping a fed Kayle in the middle of a Baron fight.
No, and like at this point, Kayle putting out incredible DPS here. And like they could do Baron so very quickly. There's not really any risk to it. Draven goes down. Lulu barely able to escape. Both Shyvana's still up. Never mind. Renekton and Anivia go down. So that's then just Lulu and Shyvana left up. I would maybe... No, they can just end this right now.
Shyvana is putting down some pain. She drops the ult. She's not going to kill any of them, but she is stalling. Kayle is shoving bot. I feel like if she was with her team, they could have taken at least one Nexus tower.
Agreed. Now Victor's going back as they are respawning. They should have stayed, finished the inhib first. Having 2 inhib down makes it so much easier to take objectives.
I believe they changed it when you had an inhib down. Not only would you get super minions in that lane, but you would also, I believe, you would see every other minion in the other lanes would become stronger. And so that would shove really hard.
That was the old seasons. That's how it used to be.
That was removed as a snowball measure, I believe.
Yes, they removed that, and then since then they're like, oh god, it's impossible to end with only 1 and sometimes even 2 inhibs down. So they made it so that minions near the super minion get incredible damage and defense boosts, so that they actually do put threat. So it's still best to have 2 or more inhibs down before you end, but now 1 inhib being down is more than just a minor nuisance.
They actually had something on the PB at some point. I don't know if it's coming back or not. We're getting Baron. Instead of giving you free AP, AD, and regen, what it would do is it would give you a speed boost, and it like largely increased the amount of damage you would do for towers. And that was huge.
Yeah, it was for split pushing, so you could actually end the game. They were proposed changes. I don't think they even made it to the PBE, but they were really cool, and I liked the idea. I think it was just one of those things, though, where it was just too hard to balance, and all of a sudden you'd have like a split push. You would invalidate laning phase because, oh, we got Baron, now split push won us the game.
Right. I know that they did have a bunch of pros in the Riot HQ before the preseason, and just basically said, break our new stuff. Zhonya's on Anivia, not gonna save her life, unfortunately.
No, and I would expect them to turn this into the game. They need to take down both inhibs, or, yeah, they need to take both inhibs, because the only person they've actually removed from play is Anivia. And Anivia is amazing at wave clearing and holding turrets, but they still have all of their main champions from a actual defending perspective. As you can see, Shyvana putting down quite a lot of damage. She is losing health, but so is the other team.
Right, that's Shyvana's biggest strength right now. It doesn't really matter who she's focusing, because she's just in the middle of your team, destroying everyone.
Mm-hmm. Draven ends up going down to the Victor Burns. Renekton almost able to get Victor, but not quite. Another ult coming out, I believe that was right when it came off cooldown. They're really low. But they need to take an inhib, or that fight essentially counted for nothing.
Shyvana at full health. She's looking at Nami. Nami's kind of dancing around. She's letting Lee Sin take the lead. Victor's low. Shyvana does not have ult, but she flashes to get to Victor. Victor drops stun cage, and it looks like they're going to be able to whittle her down.
They have to be careful, though, now that Anivia is up, because, again, Anivia could land a quick combo, and there goes Victor. There's the inhib.
Sticking around, and Nami's sustain, I don't think is enough for him to justify being there. He doesn't have enough pushing power or sustainability to really justify shoving inhibs against Shyvana and Anivia.
Shyvana ult came up. Good peel coming out from Lee Sin, both the Randuin's and the quick shield onto Nami to make sure that he isn't going to go down. Double hourglass, awkward. Is able to take them down. Unfortunately, though, the ult is not going to continue dealing damage. It's off to the side of the fight. Victor ult lives even if he dies. So if you're in like a Baron fight or a very collapsed jungle fight, you kind of want them to get into your stun field, drop your ult, and then even if you're in hourglass or dead, it's going to continue shredding away at them.
Just noticed Lee Sin actually hasn't died yet this game, so props to Lee. He's been on the front lines, dishing out damage, so the fact that he hasn't died and has been, contributing to every fight, that's pretty big. Good job, dude.
Alright, Kayle pushing in top tower now. Oh god, that attack speed.
Kayle has a problematic kit. I don't think the devs have ever really been happy with her. They were going to rework her after her most recent rework, and that just kind of fell to the wayside, and it took a few months, a couple years for people to really figure out that she's still amazingly strong.
Oh, she's caught on about 3 different times now. They do one small nerf. She drops off the face of all competitive play. People stop playing her in solo queue. But she's still just as strong. And see, again, Kayle, just going back, no one wants to Baron. It makes me so angry. So right. Kayle has opted to go for Wit's End now, so she's going to have max attack speed.
Blue team does need to be careful. They are down one person. Yes, they're super ahead, but one ace, the farther it goes into the game, one ace could end this for them. So the longer they sit on their thumbs, that could really end up biting them.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds. 2.5 attacks per second on Kayle now. They have Draven, do Baron immediately. Immediately move to Baron. Your numbers disadvantage now count for nothing.
Cage. They're chasing up, but there's no inhib for them to get to. They're not getting any kills. They're not swinging around to the bottom inhib. They need to either make a prolonged push on bottom inhib or go to Baron.
Kayle's moving towards Baron. I really hope the rest of her team follows, because that's what they have needed to do for the last 20 minutes, essentially. They've had a huge advantage, they've had a huge Baron threat, and no one's going to do it. Same complaint I had with the Ashe before. You're literally standing still and letting Baron hit you. If you're standing in the pool, that's about half of Baron's damage. Hopefully Kayle won't die.
Right, Baron is a WoW raid boss. You don't stand in this shit. Luckily, Kayle has so much AP that she heals herself up. Lee Sin comes in to tank it, and they finally pick up Baron buff.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. I'm pretty sure Kayle is building for fun right now. She's not gone for Lich Bane or anything like that.
Hurricane is an interesting choice. Kayle's auto attack actually toggles from melee to ranged, and it is up so often at max level that she is essentially a ranged character. And,
it's 100% uptime.
Funsies. But Hurricane is not the best choice.
Yeah, it's a 9.6 second cooldown for a 10-second buff. It's literally always up. Oh, tries to flash in to land the slow, not enough. I'm assuming she's going to go down here. Yep, good chain CC there. And unfortunately, that's just her being way too aggressive, and no team seems to want to end this game.
Right, that was just very silly, and we all make silly mistakes, especially when we're ahead. But again, when you're down one person, underestimating the other team so badly can really bite you in the butt.
Alright, blue team gonna take a dragon here. It's interesting to me that we are this late in the game, and unfortunately because of Draven's farm level, ugh, no, he's not anywhere near full build. He's on his third item. If I were Draven, I would have been trying to split push a little bit this game and get farmed back into the game essentially.
Right, when you're so low, you need to go, I'm not worth anything. And, if you're not worth anything and you force one, two people to come down, especially when they're already down one, that can really affect the game.
If I were them, I would have sent Draven top. Because it's just like periodic defense by Lee Sin. So just go up there and split push a little bit, get some farm, get some experience, and send like Renekton bot lane for a little bit. Just hold tower, make sure that they don't end the game essentially.
Right, since this game is taking a while to wrap up, I think I'll just take the moment to just say Nami has really proven herself to be the blue team MVP this game. She doesn't have the kills, she doesn't have the damage, she doesn't have the glory, but everything that Kayle does is possible because of her.
Mm-hmm. Someone pointed out in chat that apparently Renekton maxed W second. I believe you are correct in that you max E second on Renekton. I don't play top lane, but that is my understanding.
I'm actually pretty sure you should build AP on Renekton and play him as a lizard wizard.
It's true. So purple team, half of them are still top. Take the bot inhib. It'll take you like half a second.
Shyvana just trying her hardest, doing work, constantly in the middle of them. Unfortunately, her team just isn't with her.
Kayle's doing the same thing now, where she's just walking in to die. And I think the idea is that, well, I'll just use my invincibility. But you're being chain CC'd. The game should finally end now. That being said, though, without Kayle up, there's no one to push a tower. Kayle is the tower pusher here.
Right, Lee Sin and Victor just don't have the pushing power Kayle does, especially because Lee Sin is melee. Gotta say, some of these names are making me hungry. We got Waffle Destroyer, Soulless Pizza.
Oh, you have no idea. There's someone making waffles here. Or not waffles, bacon here right now, and I'm so hungry.
Oh my god, we're getting a waffle iron for this department, and I will become 800 pounds. So looks like blue team is pushing the end.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be able to before anyone's up. Like, Lulu's coming up now, but Lulu's not going to be able to stop 3 people. It looks like she's probably not going to try. Oh, no, there she goes. Yes! Got the Lulu kill. Mechanics.
So good job to blue team. They stayed stalwart in the face of being down a person. Unfortunately, neither team was able to really take advantage of windows of opportunity, which is a huge problem in just this game in general. But just keeping a good attitude and taking advantage of each other's plays, that really added up over time.
Okay, I just took a quick look at damage graphs, and actually Victor did a crazy amount, 65,900 damage. Essentially, well, actually, literally double what Kayle did in terms of damage. We mentioned that Nami did absolutely phenomenal. Very, very good play. Honorable mention, of course, to Lee Sin with his 0 deaths while being very aggressive, landing a lot of good plays. Kayle did well, but she was just kind of playing silly. She did get a really good advantage, though, and was able to pull it through. On the flip side, I would say that she was very, very hard on herself, but Anivia did land some good combos. It's very difficult to pick an MVP for the other team, unfortunately. That being said, they all had some pretty damn good plays on them. Like, Lulu seemed to be doing very solid escapes, very solid plays overall, and I have to give a little bit of credit to Anivia, just how she was managing her trades. At least when they worked well, and she was able to land them. She was a little bit hard on herself, though, and had some issues, so that was unfortunate. But